everything
Okay.
by order of the Secretary of State.
Sure.
Still don't arrive yet,
Must be just trying to.
but there was
You'll fill in the
Says
rest of the
public.
blanks,
There.
I presume.
there should be,
Thank you.
I'll memorize it for you.
Okay, thank you.
That's my stamps over there, but I watched you sign it.
Yes, you did.
Is that it? Doesn't show you on there yet. Oh. Yep. I have the resolutions too, so we can sign them today.
and here's the, I don't know if you want.
There's Beals, that's what I got first, and then the ZR company.
Text me if you need me, you got people.
Yep.
So,
Okay,
they're all
thank you.
unmuted.
Thank you, Ben.
They're all
Careful,
unmuted,
sir,
too?
sorry.
Oh, you're fine.
Where's that one?
That's good.
I do not know if you run a copy,
This is those.
cause I don't know if he's gonna sign the
Oh.
original plat for us to record though.
I didn't copy them, I should have.
Well, cause I was gonna wait till they're signed copies.
Yeah,
since it's-
I'll share.
Yep,
Hopefully I can make it.
you can share mine, I don't need it.
Is Kyle with us this morning?
I am here. I don't have video of you guys, but I can see video of myself, but hopefully you can hear me by audio.
Hear you just perfect.
Loud and clear.
We
Good
do have
morning.
our, audio on our supervisor page, but it's on the county website. We're trying our YouTube live today for the first time.
If that's the picture,
Yep.
it sure is nice and clear, isn't it?
This is the packet for this
Okay.
one, I'm gonna share
We're
with
gonna
you
share a little
guys,
bit?
so you
Okay.
can stay there.
This is my auditor's quarterly, if you wanna do that.
Okay,
I'll go look in a minute.
yeah, give him another moment or two. Sorry.
Like my little toilet paper?
Look at that, that's nice.
I like the face mask, comes with it. Thank you.
Tracy's
Yeah.
quite ingenious, isn't he?
Looks pretty good. That's gonna be worth a mint someday.
Looks like something in case of an emergency.
Either one.
There are times they don't let me have a bathroom break.
Of course, I was referring to the mask.
Good.
Well, Mark, it is 9:05,
Okay,
okay?
Kyle, I'm gonna go ahead and explain all of this, I think I can handle that. I'm giving them copies of the aerial and then, of course, a copy of the replat. What you have here
Okay,
is
great.
what you have here is on behalf of Ben Fail. I've given you a copy of the aerial because back several years ago, there was a plat done of what's represented on the aerial right here. It was Fail First Edition. And there was a lot one on the west side, and over to the very east, you can vaguely see that line that's on the aerial. I highlighted it with a yellow highlighter. There is actually a lot two over here to the far east. There was a home on that, the home's been removed. Kyle has prepared a replat of this entire area here, still maintaining the same amount of acres. We have let me look at my note here, 9.92 acres total. That does not change, but the lot configurations within the 9.92 acres are changing. If you look at the copy of the plat, and Gary and Tracy, I'll hold this up for you. Basically, there's a new line drawn more towards the center of that total acreage, lot 1 and 2. And the reason for this is Ben Fail called me. There's the farm buildings, grain bins and whatnot over towards the western side, and it's a matter of them doing a refinancing. And the lending company wanted the grain bins separated from the rest of the property. And Kyle, correct me if I'm wrong, that the home that Ben lives in stays in the area that's lot number 2, based on this aerial here. So it's very simple. There's nothing new being created as far as lots. It's just reshaping the lots within the total acreage area so he could deal with his lender on the refinancing. Is that creating?
You are correct, lot 2 is gonna be the house.
Okay, good.
So I'm guessing lot 2 is gonna include this building up here.
There, Kyle, you can't see that, but there's a small building that's north of the home on the aerial, and Rick's question is whether or not that stays on lot 2. I believe it does.
Looks like it would.
Looks
You
like,
guys, can you see the video of me?
No,
Okay, there's a garage and a machine shed just to the northwest, that stays on lot 2.
There.
And then there's an additional building you see straight north of the house with a white roof, that is staying on lot 2.
Sure.
Everything else to the west, the grain bins, the large barn, that's gonna be all on lot 1.
Yep. Okay. Looks good. I understand it.
so it is a resolution approving the replat of Fales First Edition to Benton County.
So moved.
Second. Okay. Motion by Gary to approve the replat of Vale First Edition to Benton County, seconded by Tracy, and this is by resolution. So,
Beershank, aye.
Seaman, aye. Primer, aye. Okay, very good.
Great, thank you, everybody, stay healthy.
Kyle, do you want me to mail these back to you so you can get everything recorded, or how do you wanna do it?
If you can just mail me the resolution, I'll take all the other documents to the attorney, and I think the attorney will put together the final plat packet to be recorded.
Okay, cause I have the auditor's certificate as well, so.
Yeah, that would be great, anything you have, if you wanna mail to me, and I'll address it from there.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you,
Thank you, Kyle. Take care.
thank you, you too.
Auditors. Sorry, here's these. She need this. Haley.
Yep.
Thank you. So, left one on the desk. Here you go, Mark. Thank you.
Did you give that check to Haley? Mm-hmm.
Not sure what that was all about,
Which one?
the check.
That's our,
DHS.
it's our pass-through grant money, it comes
Yeah.
to you guys and then I pay it.
For DHS.
Set on it.
You do?
Oh,
I
mine
thought
said
to
something.
myself, why don't I give you a
Really?
copy of it? I always make a technical reminder.
Oh, yeah,
You still got 'em,
that'd be
I'll
nice, so
make
then
Get
I
'em
can,
out, compare 'em then.
that'd be easier for our minutes then, huh?
Makes
Cause
it,
Gary was crying, he didn't
I
get
won't
his.
probably say everything that's on there, but, you know, it's like, I just usually write up
Well
in
done.
there. I thought, hey, you should have that.
That works for me, and I do save those too if you ever need them anymore.
Let's see, this goes with your,
We got 3 minutes here, I'll make a motion to approve minutes as printed on both days, on
Okay.
the 24th and the 25th. Second.
Okay,
Okay?
Tracy made the motion to approve both sets of minutes. Gary seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, real quick, let's do, number 8, the approve the auditor's quarterly report. A motion to approve that. That was what you just gave me back.
So move.
Okay.
Second.
Okay, motion by Tracy and seconded by Gary to approve the auditor's quarterly report. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Now you want this initial on the back?
Yep, cause I fold it in thirds, so.
You're back, you're back.
lots of stuff on your plate today.
Busy.
In the couple minutes that we have left, did you open your card from Tracy?
Yeah, same, can everyone hear it? That's a big jumbo card, I like it. And you didn't even sign it, so I could reuse it.
Oh, re-gift. Wow.
You need an envelope. You need an envelope.
Then you can share
I'm
that
not
with the
sure of
family.
this.
No, you need an envelope for your car.
I got one.
Oh. Yep,
I have a liquor license if you wanna do those.
that'd be great.
There's two of them, I got the
Thank you.
background checks and
Okay, I'll take care of it.
everything come back okay.
This is on Bloomsbury Farms.
And Watkins.
I'm sorry?
And then the Watkins one, I gave you that one too.
Yes, right here, the Watkins Community Athletic Association.
Everything's in order.
They are.
It passed the background. Just a yearly one.
And we do these annually. I need separate, since they're on the agenda separately, I need a motion and a second separately.
I will move, to approve Bloomsbury Farms.
Class B liquor license?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you wanna second that, Tracy?
Yeah, I second that one.
Okay. Gary made that motion, seconded by Tracy, to approve the Class B, not glass, Class B liquor license for Bloomsbury Farms. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
And now we've got the one for the Atkins Community Athletic Association.
Watkins.
Watkins, I'm sorry.
I didn't see that.
If you need to sign it.
Yeah, whoops. Whoops.
Motion approved.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Tracy, seconded by Gary to approve the Class B liquor license for Watkins Community Athletic Association. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Mark, did you wanna, Terry was asking me how many were in Benton County. Is it 5 now for COVID?
7.
7?
At least that was as of yesterday.
So where are they at?
They don't tell us.
They can't give out that, other than they're in their county.
They only tell you the age and that you have one.
Even the
Age range.
Yeah.
Somebody else is listening.
Thank you. Okay, Mark, it is 9:15, time to land use hearing for Jeffrey and Amy Herbert.
Jeffrey, are you on the line this morning?
Yes, sir, my wife and I are both here.
Great, good morning to you.
Morning to you.
Jeffrey, we're in the boardroom here, our chairperson is Rick Primer,
Good morning.
Tracy Seaman, Gary Beershank, and our auditor Haley Rickel is here. I've
Well,
just,
nice to meet you.
You too.
we have an application for a change in land use, as you've stated, Rick, from Jeffrey and Amy Herbert. They live in Marion. I've given you a packet that includes the application, some aerial photographs, and then also some photos that I've taken to my visit to the property prior to the hearing today. Jeffrey and Amy purchased a 20-acre parcel of land that's located at 7840 18th Avenue, Blairstown. It's in the southwest to the northwest of section 288211 or Leroy Township. It's on the east side of 18th Avenue, just south of 78th Street. It's approximately right here. They want to build a new home on the land. that they purchased, and in order to do that, they're asking you for a change of 1 acre. And it would be going from a, part of the agricultural land use district to a new non-ag use. If you take a look at the, aerial and the photographs that I've given you, I think you can see fairly clearly, the aerial here is showing you on the property, I highlighted it in yellow, it's showing you on the property where the actual building site that they'd like to have. It would be located towards the eastern side of the property, and it's behind a very large pond that exists on this parcel. The land that, is being reviewed today, it's not in production. It sits on an upland slope of that pond that, as I said, it's on the east side. The soil that's there is a silt loam, has a slope of approximately 9 to 14%, and the CSR of the site is a 30. There's an existing driveway that's here, and it's shared with the parcel, that is immediately south of, the Herbert's parcel. The address for those folks is 7842, their name is Angerman. And Randy reports that the driveway can be used, but I want for you to know that the driveway does not meet site distance criteria. The distance to the north is lacking. The total distance to the north site distance is 385 feet. So basically what this means is that it can exist, it can be used, but there cannot be any improvements made to that existing driveway because of the fact that it does not meet the criteria. This driveway has some history, had history with the previous owner, which has nothing to do with the Herberts. And I'm not mentioning this to cast any aspersions on them, but I'd just like for you to know that there has been some history with this driveway. The previous owner had some problems with secondary road department way back when this thing was actually built. But it does exist, and as I said, Randy states that it can be utilized. He reports that it was built for the new home that was built in 1993, which is the Angerman property, which is just south of that pond. That Angerman property sits approximately right there, guys, on this aerial, it's right there. It'd be right here, Gary.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? Now Jeff tells me that he's spoken with Mr. Angerman about this. Mr. Angerman never called our office in advance of today's hearing, but he has no concerns about them sharing that driveway. What I do want to show you is looking at the photographs that I took. I'm standing out near the road with this first photograph, and that gives you an idea of what that looks like coming off of the road. The second photograph basically is, or I guess I wanted to mention in respect to the first photograph, the garage that Mr. Angerman owns is right on the property line, basically. There had been some discussion when this was surveyed that the property line may actually be approximately a foot underneath of the north end of that garage. Our aerials do not show that, but the survey itself, said basically, and Jeff is the one that mentioned this to me when this came in, is that garage may sit over that property line. That's a concern for them, not necessarily a concern for us, but again, Jeff has explained to me that they have spoken with Mr. Angerman about this. He's been cordial, and they have basically had no issues about that. The second photograph is taking you down to the access to the rear of the property. The driveway to the east end of the property crosses over the dam to the pond. Then, as far as the third photograph, I was standing down on the dam, just showing you what the access looks like back up. You can see my pickup sitting up there near the road, and I just wanted you to get a feel for what we're doing and how this looks here. That crosses the dam. The fourth photograph then is taking you up towards the building site. And then the final photograph, well, not the final one, but the fifth photograph is basically showing you the building site itself, that this land is not in production. There's some cedar trees and whatnot that are on there, and basically some tall grass. The final photograph that I took, I just wanted to let you see what what the property looks like from up on the road. You can see it's very timbered, you can see the pond down towards the bottom of the hill, and vaguely, if you look through the trees, you can see the backside of, towards where the building site is.
That's a dead-end road, correct?
Pardon me?
That road is a dead-end road.
That road is a dead-end road, that's correct. And that does influence the fact, as far as that driveway and the lack of, sight distance to the north, it's not a heavily traveled road, it's primarily the traffic for the residences that exist out there.
It's really not much more than a driveway.
No. So, in respect to the actual building project itself, after I've given you all of that background, the site will need new septic system, it does not need a well. There's rural water there. The surrounding land use pattern of the area, the immediate area, is predominantly rural acreages. You can see some of those on the aerial that I've given to you. As far as the septic system goes, I would just mention that, this particular soil type in the southern part of Benton County and the eastern part of Benton County, it's what's called the Fayette silt loam, and the soil type is typically one that may require the construction of an alternative system. That's typically a sand filter. It's not problematic, it's just that it might have to be an alternative as opposed to conventional absorption trenches. As far as the land use pattern there, as I said, we have several acreages, there is some crop and pasture land, and also I've noted that there are not any major livestock facilities. There's some cattle on pasture, has been to the south of that, of this particular site. We notified 5 adjacent property owners of the request. We've placed legal notices in all 3 of our official newspapers as required. In respect to the fact that we're doing this by speakerphone and no public allowed, I wanted you to be aware that I did post notice of the Zoom call on the door, the west door to the courthouse, so the public did have notice if anybody wanted to participate. Is there anybody on the speaker phone that did want to be involved in this hearing today other than Jeff and Amy? Hearing none, I guess not. Pardon?
Do you need me to come up and then come back later?
Oh, this is Sarah?
Yeah, do you need me to hang up and just come back later?
Are you referring to the 10 o'clock portion of our agenda?
Yeah, I'll come back at 10.
Well, I think this is closed to,
Yeah,
this is not requiring department heads to sign in.
I just have it on there in case we do wanna discuss it, we're covered,
Okay.
but at this
So
time,
no need for me to come back on at all?
if we do, we'll send out an email to all department heads, but at this time, I don't think we will.
Okay, sounds good, thanks guys.
Yep,
Thank you.
Okay, in respect to this change, as I've explained to you, we have a low CSR. It's land that's not in production, hasn't been. This is the type of project that can be approved in respect to our ordinance and our land use comprehensive plan. Any questions? Pardon me, you sent letters to everybody, five adjacent property owners.
This is right south of Costers.
Yes, right. There's 2 subdivisions just to the north of this. I have no problem, I'll second.
Motion by Gary, seconded by Tracy to approve the land use for Jeffrey and Amy Herbert. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Welcome to Benton County, you two.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Build a nice expensive house.
Bye.
Atta girl.
Jeff,
Thank you.
Jeff and Amy, I will send you out what's called a compliance certificate here, email it to you here later.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you guys, appreciate it.
Okay, rolling right into the 9:25 one, huh?
Steve, are you on the phone?
resolution accepting and approving plat for what's called CR Company Edition. If you remember, we had Zach Ellis land use hearing. I didn't copy this in multiple because we just recently been over it. If you remember, we had existing acreage there. The land area is a little over 3 acres. We're going to create an 80 by 350 foot area on the east edge of the acreage so he could build a new building for his business. And this is a culmination of all that. He first did a variance so that he could just prepare a final plat. We did the land use change, and then this is the final plat that needs your approval.
So moved.
Second.
Tracy made the motion, Gary seconded to approve the final plat for CR Company, addition to Benton County. And this is by resolution.
Your shake eye.
Seaman, aye.
And Primer, aye.
And Zach, I'm gonna address the lot fees, what we have to do.
Pardon?
You wanna talk to Zach and what else he needs to do, drop it off? Or
Yep.
does he wanna just come in and we'll report it off?
I will tell him that he needs to pay the fee, and that's,
He's not,
Zach, are you on there this morning?
showed him earlier.
Okay.
Zach, this is Mark Green. Are you on the phone?
Okay. Do you have something you need us to sign for that resolution? Haley's got it. Okay.
Do you have the resolution here?
I think somebody passed it around. It was not, it was in that copy.
Oh, I didn't pick it up yet. Maybe I did, come to think of it. Thanks for that, Zach.
This one right here.
No, that's the one that I had. Here's
There's my
yours, I'm sorry.
Yep, all
I
that.
give too much of it back.
Well, let me hand you that. Whoops, I'm sorry.
So
There we
then
go.
Zach will pay those lot fees.
There we go.
So I'll have to find out if I give this to Steve Scott, if he's gonna do the final recording or,
You need our signatures.
yeah.
This one that I have does not have the resolution number on it, so. I guess that wraps up my business with you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
I have another card paper.
Maybe two.
Can't think of anything else. Seems like there's something. I'll think of it.
I'll be here.
Yeah, you will. So you're not sure you're gonna have a session at 10 o'clock?
Unless we need, we have an update, you wanna, we're good? I mean, unless they're gonna change our, oh, we went with Friday. Did you look over the Iowa County example we sent?
Can't recall. I'm sorry.
It's just with that emergency family sick leave. If somebody were to be quarantined or come around it, some counties are doing automatic 2 weeks off.
Oh, yeah, I think I did read that. Yes.
But that is effective actually tomorrow, so.
Yeah. Right. On the first. Yeah. And
I have a feeling, I mean, like Gina says, it works quicker, so.
I had a, if I could give a report, I had a, if you're in a lull right now, if that's all right. I had a teleconference with the Heartland Insurance Risk Pool, and each county by county gave their rendition of what they're doing. Most, I believe there's 9 counties there. Most of them are doing what we have implemented, you know, close to the public and then doing things remotely, if you will, drop boxes, etc. Same thing with secondary roads. Their secondary roads is working. You know, again, it almost mirrors what we're doing. There is one county, and I didn't make note which, but the supervisors are not meeting. They're doing it via teleconferences.
That works, but like all these papers that Haley needs to sign.
Exactly. So this is something that's,
Well, if Rick's still chair, it doesn't even count if I had to grab a signature, it's just like the other
it's
stuff.
the resolutions where but that's kind of the gist of it. One county is still allowing camping. Yeah. It was just, whoa. And one county is taking appointments into their courthouse. So, but again, for the most part, they mirror what we're doing. So I think we're on the right track. I really do. So, yeah.
It seems to be working okay.
So,
And people are calling, like I had 2 city clerks bring me budgets yesterday. They call ahead and put them in the meeting.
and that
I
makes
don't have to
sense.
notarize anything, they don't really need to come in, I just make sure I have it.
Mhm.
Keep them out. As long as it's not raining, it's fine.
Okay. Well, we have a 9:30 review center.
Yep, and they will not be
Proclamation.
here, so
Okay,
I have a resolution. You wanna read it, or you want me to read it?
go for it. Please.
This is the proclamation of Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Whereas sexual assault affects individuals of any gender, race, culture, or socioeconomic backgrounds. And whereas in addition to the immediate physical and emotional costs, sexual assault may also be associated with consequences of post-traumatic stress disorder, substance abuse, depression, homelessness, eating disorders, and suicide. And whereas sexual assault can be devastating not only to the survivor, but also for the family and friends of the survivor. And whereas since no one person, organization, agency, or community can eliminate sexual assault on their own, we must work together to educate our entire population about what can be done to prevent sexual assault, support victims, survivors, and their significant others, and support those agencies providing services to victims and survivors. Now therefore be it resolved, we the Benton County Supervisors in and for Benton County on behalf of all staff and citizens of Benton County that the month of April 2020 is hereby proclaimed as Sexual Assault Awareness. So this, we've done these the last years from the Riverview Center.
Yes, we've done this numerous times before.
So this was asked for support on.
Okay. Do I have a motion to support the proclamation for making April Sexual Awareness Month?
So moved.
And seconded. Gary made the motion, seconded by Tracy. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you.
I think,
There you go.
next week, are you guys ready for me to put back on to decide on the health insurance for our renewals? You want to keep it the same plan?
Good discussion.
No, that's what I moved, because remember they presented last week, so. Just one of those things we gotta get moving on to
True. Let's throw it on there.
next week.
Yeah.
I don't know if you were here, so you didn't have that packet, did you?
I don't.
So I'll get you that, just
Okay.
look that over.
If you could, please.
Because what was the only difference was it was one was cheaper, but they were more
There's 3
strict.
plans there.
The one was stricter on the providers, I think more of chiropractors and stuff.
I'd like to see it. So, sorry.
I can get you a copy before you leave today.
I will. Okay. Thank you.
Actually, I have one right here with my notes on
Okay.
it. That's our new people that took over Kingston.
Okay.
So with this coronavirus, is there any group in the county that has expectations of what's gonna happen in the future? When are we gonna get to the peak of this?
I thought they said around Easter.
Yeah, that's what I
The
had heard.
13th.
And of course, the president has extended it basically for the month of April. And I'm sure the schools will be like ourselves, we'll all have to do a review as we get closer to Easter. I know that our church is shut down for the month of April.
What's the deal?
At this time, our notice says through the 13th too.
Yes, yes. So we may need to review that. So it still seems to be on the uptick rather than the downhill slope.
Yeah, it does.
So that's too bad. Especially with the nursing home in Cedar Rapids, there's so many in there.
Really, to be honest about it, those populations, they should have a place to, we should have had a place to take those people, disperse them.
From the nursing home?
Yeah, in other words, like, and it's hard to do, but let's say the Lutheran home out here would get it, then not everybody's infected immediately.
You segregate.
Yeah, you just disperse them, and then,
I would think they would isolate a certain area.
It's
just for those.
It's unfortunate that happens even with the flu.
sure, yeah,
Yeah, it's
and they're all at risk,
exactly.
so if it would get out of hand.
Item 9, discuss and set fiscal year 20 budget amendment hearing date.
Yes, I know, talked with Myron, Ron, the sheriff, and Karen. Karen was the one that approached me first. She needs to get,
Mhm.
the legal aid. So I asked, do you want the department heads to come forward and present their amendment to you before we go?
I think that would be smart.
So if we want to set the date, if we look at April 24th, then that'll give us time to get some of those departments in and ask for the request before I can get it all put together for paper. So at this time, if we set it for April 24th at 9:30, would be our hearing date, and I'd put the notices in accordingly. But I thought they should come to you and ask for the amendments and why they need them.
So they can do that before April 24th.
Yes, because I would have to publish that with their new amounts that they need amended.
So I know that one department has someone to pay.
Right,
Once-
she does not have the spending authority.
Okay, so once we approve hers, is she able to pay him? Pay
Once
that
the
individual?
budget amendment is approved. We can't
Can't do it
go over
prior
the
to.
spending authority until it's done.
Mhm.
So that would still prolong it, but.
At least there'd be light at the end of the tunnel. Okay.
It's not in our budget right now to pay him?
I don't understand why she's,
She applied for a grant, so she thought that was gonna be fine, but like I told her, just because we get revenue coming in, you have to show for it, expenditures going out. And she does not have enough to pay that. In her spending authority.
She's got the money there, she just doesn't have the authority to spend it.
I think we'll have to transfer it to it, if it's out of land acquisition. I'm not sure what, I thought it was all hooked in with the watershed, so again, that's why I asked her, she needs to approach us and get on the agenda. Because I thought that was all tied in with the watershed, and it's not.
So was I. That's the understanding I have.
I was told it was not. So I've heard two sides, so I don't know.
Well, that's something with Adam,
Yeah,
so
and because that's why I kept thinking, well, if it was through Adam, she would have to present the bill to the watershed coordinator. He would approve it before I would pay it.
again, that's the way I thought it was.
And now I've been told it's not.
Is Adam on the line?
Probably not, as he didn't need to. But in the past, we've always had the department heads come present to you why they need an amendment. For their approval, which we know Myron's would be Rock if he does.
Is this something we can contact Adam and find out?
I would think we'd ask him or her both to come in. I think he needs on there next week anyway.
Does he? Let's see if she can come in then next week. Can we?
I think Karen's working from home now, I'm not positive.
Well, she can at least call in.
Yeah.
'Cause I don't even know the amount. I haven't been told anything.
Well, I get a pretty good idea.
well,
I'd hate to be sitting on it that long.
it takes you to pay.
Yeah, it's a long time.
And that's why I thought it was
Yeah.
applying for the watershed.
Yeah, but this, I was told Adam needs to handle it, and so that's where I figured it was at, but. Okay. Well, let's get Adam on
Regardless,
the line
she's gonna
next
have to
week.
get
and-
some amendment, yeah.
Sure, okay. Yeah, regardless, I mean, she doesn't have the authority to spend it.
Otherwise, some of them I can move money around within the service areas, but
Okay.
I don't have a cushion for that big of a amount. So if you do a motion to set the public hearing amendment date for April 24th at 9:30?
Sounds good.
Second.
Okay, that was his motion, yes. The sounds good was a
All
motion.
right, got it
Yeah.
down.
Tracy made the motion, Gary seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. I'm gonna make my 4 look like a 4, 24, not a 9. Okay. Any reports? Got a couple minutes here. No? Okay.
Anybody had meetings other than Heartland?
Whitehead Heartland, we're gonna have HACAP, and the director got sick.
I don't know.
So sinus infection. Thank God it wasn't coronavirus. And HACAP is really blowing through their goods and their money. I mean, it's just wow.
People are gonna be hurting your systems.
Obviously, some departments are gonna be increased because of this virus, and some of them are gonna decrease. Like, well, conservation, if they're not gonna open any parks, it ain't gonna cost, not gonna cost any money.
But they're gonna be hurting in revenue from campers.
Yeah, but it's not a
Yeah.
positive cash flow department, you know.
And Scott did ask if we wanted to file for that declaration of emergency, but I think the minimum is 3,300 at this time. I don't feel it's not worth it to me to go through all that
Right.
hassle for $3,300. Because in 16, when we had that other little flood, it was a lot of work for what we got out of it.
Sure.
There's a chance that that will get streamlined with this situation because it's national.
It's, you know, just like I do know that today is the last day that small businesses can file for a grant from the state, anywhere from $5,000 to $25,000 grant, which is
They have to like 20 or less employees or something.
500 or less.
500 or less.
Yes.
There must be 2 different ones then, because there was one for even a smaller.
So I mean, it's anyone out there that has not filed and has a need should.
And Kate from BDG reached out also. She's got some resources if you do guys get calls or anybody's concerned. Like, I'm gonna order some hand sanitizers from one of those wineries, so I can have one for each election precinct.
Oh, nice.
'Cause I'm thinking ahead, because if they're back ordered now,
Mhm.
come June.
The automatic dispensers, like the hospitals have,
Yeah, those
At
are
their
on back
entries.
order too.
they're on back
Yeah,
order.
because I have 4 coming.
Yeah, those are nice.
I'm gonna have one at each store, and then at the service center as well.
Okay.
I think Myron has his own stuff. I think
Yeah.
also too, but-
Is Myron on there yet?
I'm on here.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
We were talking about you.
All right. Well, it's
I heard my name.
9:45, sir.
I printed out.
Rick, do you have 3 utility permits in front of you?
Yeah, it looks like I do, sir.
Okay. Which one you got on top? Because it doesn't really matter. I can go in your order.
Well, this one on top is East Central Iowa REC.
Okay. East Central Iowa RDC wants to remove an old existing overhead line and replace it with buried cable just southeast of Garrison. If you were to go just east of the Garrison Quarry to 19th Avenue, go south a mile and a half, you'd be at the intersection of 19th Avenue and 62nd Street Drive. Starting from right there, boring under the road, from the west side to the east side, plowing on 62nd Street Drive for about a quarter mile, 4 back under the road to get on the north side, and we're talking a short, about a third of a mile replace an old overhead line.
Makes sense. Get those lines buried, less apt to have blow down during a windstorm, so, okay. Do I get them, you want these individually, don't you?
Motion.
There's 3 different
Yep.
parties, so yeah, I think we need to.
Okay, Gary made the motion to approve
Second.
that, and Tracy seconded to approve the East Central Iowa REC permit. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. And then the next one I have here is a utility permit. The applicant is Gary Marlowe.
Gary and Jill Marlowe, located north of the Benton Airport, want to bore a water line from their water source at their house under 55th Street across the road to the pasture they have on the south side. They are bearing all that cost, and they're using contacted a contractor that does a lot of the boring for the utility companies in Benton County to put that water line across there. So, like a few other water lines that have been done this way in the county, recommended that they fill out the utility permit, and that's what's presented for you here at this point.
Okay. Do I have a motion to approve that?
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay, Tracy made the motion, Gary seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And then the last one is the Interstate Power and Light, Alliant Energy.
Correct. This one is down by Belle Plaine. Corporate limits on the east side of Belle Plaine, the old hog line station. I think there's a Faith Baptist church that's right near that intersection right now. Much like REC, they want to take the existing overhead line that's on the north side of that 78th Street trail right now, abandon it by replacing it, I guess, with underground running along the south side of 78th Street trail from the Belle Plaine corporate limits going east out to Pleasant Hill Cemetery entrance, and making all of the connections to those residents on the south side with that buried electrical line.
Motion.
Gary made the motion.
Second.
Tracy seconded to approve that for Alliant Energy. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. And then you've got the dust control for 2020.
I'll back up one and real quick, would
I'm
like
sorry.
to
Yep.
rehire Mark Valesky to help do some seeding here yet this spring with our hydro seeder, and then drive the spray truck that Bruce Anderson would drive later this season as the weeds start growing on the roadside. And if we could go ahead and put him to work, I would propose as early as tomorrow. Last year we were paying him $16 an hour. I'd like to propose $16.50 an hour, and we just do it for the whole summer. We wouldn't worry about anything come July 1st.
Okay. And this is with Mark Zaleski.
Valesky. Magic.
When is that effective, Myron?
Let's go with April 1st.
Okay.
Okay. So I get a motion. Okay.
Second.
Tracy made the motion and Gary seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Now the dust control.
Yeah.
Yes.
In the past, Benton County Secondary Roads has offered MC70 product as dust control. Outside of, at least right now with the current situation and the county offices being closed, that the permit would need to be done by mail, email, fax, aspect until things are lifted. But I got a quote from our oil supplier, got rock prices. I give you a breakdown sheet. What I came up with, calculating price difference, oil was down a little bit, rock's up a little, labor costs everything came within $1 or $2 of what last year's prices was. So my suggestion, recommendation, if we continue the MC70 program for Benton County residents, is that the first 400 feet would be the same $1,185 like we charged last year. If they wanted more footage than that, it would be $2 a foot with minimum 50-foot increments.
And when's the window for that?
I'm proposing Friday, May 8th to end those permits. We could publish it in the paper like we have in the past, and we would get the permit form loaded up on the website so residents can pull it off there also.
Okay.
Myron, I got a question for you. That's on your agenda for the do's and don'ts, 1 through 6.
Conditions of the permit?
Yes.
Okay.
My question is, aren't the residents supposed to maintain that after the MC70 is put on? As for like chuck holes or anything?
Yes, they are.
I read this twice and maybe I have missed that one. Can you point that out to me?
Yes, the number 3. I don't know which side you're looking at. I'm looking at 1 through 5 as opposed to 1 through 6 side. Tracy?
Okay.
Is that in the second email?
I'm on the, second email, 1 through 6, 1 through, you said number 3? Okay, that's the Iowa law. I haven't read that one.
Yeah. That section talks about more or less your responsibility to maintain it. If we make note of it and send you a notice, you're going to have 7 days to correct it. Otherwise, we're going to blade through it.
Let's say, I've got that out in front of my house, Myron, and you send me notice. What constitutes, repair? Just fill the hole with rock, or what do you need to fill the holes with?
Some people do that. Others have come to secondary roads and taken cold patch mix to use. But since all county buildings are closed to the public right now, that would not be an option for them.
What's the cutoff date for this?
May 8th.
May 8th.
May 8th is what I was proposing. With
Hopefully,
spring arriving a little sooner this year, I would imagine that you're gonna hear from residents wanting dust control, and because some residents won't tell us till the last minute what they want to do, we still need some prep time to get the roadway ready for whatever dust control. So it's going to be usually a couple weeks after that date before the road is ready for application.
well, good Lord willing, if this is due by May 8th, you know, it's gonna, any repairs to a newly treated road, you know, would come in this summer, of course, but, okay, I don't see a problem with it. And that is on the what he's referring to is on the conditions of the permit. That's 1 through 5. Yeah. Okay. Well, it's good to try to keep the same price.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There might be some problems because we can't visit with the engineer or whatever. I was a resident, but that'll all go away too eventually.
Okay. Yeah. Temporary inconvenience. So, okay. So do you need to,
Probably 50% of the permit applicants probably wait till the last 3 or 4 days of the deadline. Hopefully come May 1st, things will be different across the county than where we're at right now. May not be as big of an inconvenience as we think, but the questions are starting to roll into our office already about dust control prices and dust control in general.
Could you tell me, Myron, how many you did last year? Ballpark?
The MC70 last year, I think we had 100 applications, locations across the county. Year before, I think it was 90. And I may have those years flip-flopped.
That's fine.
do you need a motion or anything to set these fees?
Yeah,
We have done that in the past.
Okay, all right.
We
So
do.
could I get a motion to set the dust control fees?
Keep I'll make a motion. Keep it the same as it was last year.
Second.
All right. Motion by Tracy, seconded by Gary. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay.
Myron, I don't know if you heard, we set the budget hearing amendment date for April 24. So if you want to just go over yours, see if there's any areas we need to increase.
Okay, I will do that between now and before then.
Okay, or just because I have to publish in the paper ahead of time, so you probably have a week or so to do it.
That'll work.
Okay, thank you.
Myron,
Go ahead.
Yes.
sorry. We received a letter from the Benton Sheldsburg Community School District dated March 11th in support of upgrading 61st Street, which is that dirt road south of the Anderson Creek addition. So, did you get a copy of that letter?
I did not.
Okay, I'm going to give it to Haley and make sure that you get a copy, okay?
Okay.
All right,
I think that's on Wayne's side.
that's the road Wayne came and talked about, yes. So, okay, very good. Anything else there, Myron?
I've got something.
That's all I had for today's agenda.
Gary has one, excuse me.
Myron, we didn't get all the roads painted, the lines painted on the roads last fall. What are we gonna do about that? Are we gonna paint them this spring, or are we gonna wait till fall and redo them?
I haven't talked to the contractor specific-wise, but my anticipation and expectation was to be doing those here this spring once the weather conditions, temperature-wise and pavement temperature was suitable for paint, was my goal and hope.
Very good.
And I guess I do have one other question. You still have on your books to do that dust control down there towards Pete's Addition and that other road, can't remember the name, the road number, over towards Lewis Bottoms?
Yes.
Okay. All right. Very good. Okay.
Thanks, Myron.
You're welcome.
Thank you, sir. Stay safe, stay healthy.
I'm gonna scan these utility permits back to you.
That'll work for me, Haley.
Okay. You just sign that one too.
This is,
So I can scan back to them.
Don't do shoulder repair in the fall though. Go down 218 and see how much rock is in everybody's driveways and stuff, because they did that right before they started plowing snow, just scraped it all off. You probably got, well, that'd be other county ones. So.
I'm on paved, I'm on blacktop.
No, it's the blacktop, 218, they did, they
Oh,
put
when they
that
roughed it,
gravel down
yeah.
just before they started plowing snow, and they shoved it all right off.
Jeff likes to mow our ditch too, so he has a thing that he rakes it up with.
If it's a US highway, that's a state.
No, I'm saying that, I was just making a snotty comment at the state part of it.
We've never heard comments like that on the county part, though.
I'm just saying, if you drive on 218 north, see all the gravel that's in the site. 'Cause when they put it down, I was like, this doesn't seem like a good idea just before you start plowing snow.
Thank you. Okay. Well, it's 10:03. Is there any need to go into a closed session regarding the, or is this something you wanted to do? Is that?
This is different, it's not.
Oh,
for
his is
COVID,
different.
It's for the,
Yeah, mine's some pending litigation.
yeah, that one is definitely.
Okay.
No surprise for the mix.
All right. Well,
Different, and I should have clarified that on the agenda a little better.
okay, so this is not for the COVID-19. Okay.
For that.
Can't sue a virus.
Somebody will
Darn
try.
it.
So. if you
Thank
guys
you, Larry.
want- You're recommending they do, so we'll need a motion.
I'm not talking to them unless they do.
Okay. Need a motion to go into closed session as per Iowa Code 21.51C.
So move.
Who doesn't want one?